Hey, welcome back. This time, 2003 Toyota Corolla. We're gonna place the alternator. Come check it out. Alternator, which is located right there, looks brand new for a reason, because it was changed a month ago. And it has stopped working already. Hey, good thing for warranties, right? We check our battery voltage. You can see we're at 12.58. All right, go ahead and start it. Drop down to about 9 volts there. That's the load on the battery. All right, so right now with the car running, we should be seeing right around 14 volts, but as you can see, it's still only 12.36 volts. So that's telling me that the alternator is not charging the battery. The alternator should power the car while the car is running, and the battery is really only there to provide power to start the car. To take your negative lead off of your battery using your 10mm socket, and now we have power removed from the car. Same 10mm socket, little 3-inch extension. Go ahead and take this top cover off and just place this off to the side. Disconnect the electrical connections from the alternator itself. We have one power cable right here. You might have to get a screwdriver to pop this off, but I've had it off recently, so I can pop it off by hand. Down here has a little release mechanism. Just squeeze it and pull. It's a good time to go ahead and look at your connectors. Make sure there is not any corrosion. The cable right here coming out of your alternator is also a 10mm socket. Loosen that up. Take it off. This wire that goes down here, this is a wire that's actually going to your air conditioning compressor. If you don't have air conditioning in your car, you won't see this, but it's just using the alternator to kind of hold the wire back. But this clip was a pain in the rear. So if you look straight down on here, you have to get a little screwdriver and pry that up off of the metal piece right here to pull it out. Once you push it that way, it'll pull straight out. The electrical connector's off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the tensioner real quick. So the tensioner on this is a bit different than what I'm familiar with. My light shining on it looks like a motor mount bracket, but see that bolt right there? You want to loosen that bolt. That bolt is a 17mm. That's the pivot spot of the tensioner. The tensioner spring is actually, looks like a little strut right there. All right, so let's loosen that real quick. 17mm open end, closed end wrench. All right, so I'm going to use my opened end now because the angled end and a little bit of a cheater bar. All right, so my previous cheater bar was a little bit too long. Created my own little cheater bar, 30mm socket, and I've used 1/2-inch extensions to kind of give me a little bit of leverage. And just loosen it. All right, so we were able to loosen it. I only loosened it about 2 turns. Just want to loosen it. That's the pivot point. So here's the bolt that I just loosened. That's the pivot point. And this spot right here, that's a part of the bracket, is actually a hex. And it's a 19mm socket that fits over there. And so I'm gonna put my 19mm socket, and when I put my 19mm socket on there and an extended 1/2-inch drive ratchet, I'm going to pull towards me, and what it does is it pivots it downward to loosen up this belt. And that's how the belt tensioner works. I have my 19mm socket. I have my 1/2-inch drive ratchet. It's got a decently long handle. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull back so you can see it in action. Let me get the light down here. So as I pull back, watch the belt loosen. See that? See how that works? I hope this helps you on the video, because this was difficult for me to figure out when I was first taking this, but it was the first time I'd come across this engine. So hey, those of you who are experts at it, Don't diss me. We're going to loosen this and then take this belt off of the alternator here. I'm pulling back right now, just loosening up this belt, pulling it off of the alternator, and now I'm relieving the tension. So I'm just gonna kind of keep this belt just like this. Change the belt already. If you need to change your belt, it's probably the toughest part about this whole job is just rerouting the new belt through the serpentine sections. Once you get it routed around there, make sure that you're at this position right here. So when you put your new alternator in, that's the last step on the belt. All right, so our next step is to unbolt the alternator. 2 bolts holding it on. The top one here, which is easily seen and the easiest one to get to, is 12mm socket. And make sure that we're loosening. There we go. All right, the second bolt is at the bottom of the alternator, so it's a shoulder bolt. So that takes a 14mm socket. This one right here is a bit tricky for me because my 3-inch extension does not fit down in here very well. So I'm forced to use no extensions at all. All right, so the bolt came out. I started with my 14mm socket. I finished it with my 9/16 instead of my 14mm. You can see my 14mm is not in the best shape. In fact, I'm gonna go get a replacement. Looking at it right now, I didn't realize it was that bad. But anyways, the 9/16 will work. So with both those bolts out, this alternator pulls right out. Now, if the alternator's been in your car for a little while, it's gonna be tight. But just kind of wiggle it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it'll eventually pull straight up like this. And now what you want to do is be careful with the wires and just kind of fish it out of here. Just like that. All right, I'm going to take this little bracket off because the new one's not gonna come with the bracket, and this is where that extra wire that goes down to your air conditioning compressor goes, and it was kind of using this as a place to keep the wire away from anything that is hot or sharp. All right, so the magic number for this is 8mm. All right, now you have an alternator for either a core or for a warranty. Now go get yourself an alternator. So, not to bore the audience, we did receive the new alternator, but we'll go into a time lapse here, reinstalling the new alternator. All right, alternator installed, all bolts tightened up, all electrical connectors connected, wiring is out of the way. Get a good look around here, make sure nothing's pinched, nothing's left loose. We left this top cover off for the moment. Still have my tools out here for the moment. Connected the battery negative back up. We're gonna verify that this alternator is good. 13.97 now. Yeah, so we're right at 14 volts. That's where we want to see the alternator charging. We're good. That's a wrap. Stick around for some financials. I'll run through some of those real quick. Hey, if you like my videos, don't forget to press like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Looking at the financials, I like to use a website called repairpal.com. And that website, when you type in your zip code, and in my particular zip code, will cost anywhere from $399 to $430. A little bit farther down, you can see the parts, the core return, and the tax, all summed up to $204. So that was our cost here. For final analysis, you can see that doing this job yourself, you can save $226. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.